against 8.9 billion, Chair. We have major games to undertake and preparation for our teams to participate in Los Angeles Olympic Games 2028, which require supporting qualification events for all the federations under the Olympic pathway. But also their participation in international events like the Commonwealth Games. This year we are privileged to be in Glasgow, and the funding leave us with this gap. We request. We also request support for the country club for national competition 2.7. On the oversight for council and the development and promotion, we are asking for 4.8. Additional administrative expense of 1.3 billion, and the subvention for anti-doping, we require additional 1 billion in this context, because this framework was provided when the certificate of finance application was granted by the Ministry of Finance that indicated this money would be available, but out of that, so far they have only given us 1 billion. And the reward and recognition scheme for talented and athletes, we require 5 billion. Chair, there is no provision in our budget for tax, and yet with the current activities we're undertaking, we have tax obligation as a government. And I'm finding it very difficult in the circumstance to implement the projects which we are already undertaking because of this gap. And in our estimate, we are looking for 500 million in the period. The local organizing committee operations for AFCON 2027 require additional support. And Chair, as you note in the chart, we and you provided us with 24.7 billion, which supported and we have vetted and voted the best performing country in the 3 countries. Now, AFCON is slightly big for the local organizing committee. Chair, the detail of those expenses are available. We have also undertaken as a measure of national and regional development to develop other regional stadiums. You provided funds, Chair, through Parliament for Kacheka development in Umbara City. We want this project to be on, and we're asking for allocation of 100 billion. In the last appearance, you also challenged us to see that Buhinga Stadium, which had already been highlighted, funds are provided for its development because the feasibility report has been done. Chair, with your guidance, then we are able to integrate this as a need.
Now, Mr. Ogwell, or Dr. Ogwell, that info is very clear. Let's move. Let's go to the challenge, because I'm constrained with the time.
I would want to go straight, Chair, now to the prayers. And for other detail of my presentation, I want to take you to Annex A, where you have detailed budget allocation for financial year 2025-26. It also had budget requirement for 2026-27 and the gaps. And Chair, in that you will not have given justification for each of the funds that we require your support. I want to go to the prayers of National Council of Sports. The prayers, Chair, is on page 36, and the details of my prayers and the amount are indicated. Chair, in this context, you note that the total amount required is up to 1.5 trillion in our prayers for all that I've highlighted. And for avoidance of doubt, as indicated on page 38 to 40, you'll have detailed allocation and the gaps and the justification highlighted on page 20, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, and up to 47. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much, National Council of Sports. The write-up I got from FUFA. And now that the president of FUFA is here, Alhaji Honorable Magogo,
Thank you, Right Honorable Chair, and good morning. Chair, it is the Chief Executive Officer of FUFA who will do the presentation and is not yet here. So
Members, let's react to National Council of Sports. Hello?
Chair, from their presentation, I think their presentation is very clear. Chair, there is only one concern. Actually, I have two concerns. The first concern is on page 15. Page 15 of their presentation. Page 15 is about those achievements, those medals we have won. I saw Max are here with the capability taking pictures. Why don't you take this information, the new vision? Because this is a very good achievement for you as the council and even for the country. Please do that. Don't hide.
Maybe has already done it. You may not be
I
aware.
don't know, but I wish I could see this instead of seeing Manu and Asen. I wish I could see this in the new vision. The second observation, Mr. Chairman, yesterday we had the KCCA here. And I think somebody was supposed to be here. The KCCA concern is about the
KCCA. Are you around? Anybody from KCCA? Put up your hand.
Hey, where are you? You stand up. We are not going to ask questions about Tonach for channel.
It's good KCCA is here and they have remembered. Go ahead.
Now, the concern was that this stadium, Philip Mondi here, it needs a few things here so that it can also be used as a training ground for these AFCONs we are talking about. So what is the problem? Why was it not included in the either training grounds to be improved or something? Because according to them, they are saying it can be used as a playground, but it was not considered in all the arrangements. And now that the Minister for Sports is here, and the Honourable Minister, this Philip Mondi Stadium is the same playground for Parliament, it is yours. So, since it is almost ready, why don't you include it in the training grounds so that we have a variety?
But I would also like,
Chairman,
there's some money we appropriated for Philip Mondi. So maybe the minister will clarify.
The code now for Kacheka Stadium, because the mayor is waiting.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, allow me begin with the one of Philip Mondi among those training grounds which we had identified. But going into the details and getting guidance from CAF guided that they needed us to have a facility with a natural grass for it to qualify to be a training facility. We had an engagement with the management of KCCA Football Club. They were not ready to allow KCCA Philip Mondi Stadium get to a level of having it have the pitch as natural grass. For that matter, as a government, we had to look for an alternative venues to suit into the guidance which were given by the Confederation of African Football. So I want to call upon the committee. It's important that we support the budget of Kampala Capital City Authority as sports to ensure that money is appropriated for that specific purpose to complete the works of Philip Mondi Stadium as part of the Kampala Capital City Football Club. But for purposes of AFCON training facility, I want to confirm to you, honorable members, that as of now, they are not among the training pitches which we are going to undertake the works. And as far as I am aware, and you honorable colleagues, is already money which has already been released for the implementation of all the attendant to training facilities. That's issue number one. On issue number two, about the money which was sent to them, it is true works have been going on in as far as the upgrade of that facility is concerned. I again implore your committee, sir, to carry out your oversight role and see how far that man has gone with its works. But me, who is almost a daily use of the facility, I see steady progress of works which has taken place in the Philip Omondi Stadium. And I want to commend the executive director of KCCA and the entire management for the good work done. On Kacheka Stadium, I want to invite, at the time I was following it up was when we had the question of the land ownership between Mbara City and Mbara District. So I want to invite Dr. Ogwell, because I'd asked them to go and resolve this matter. So I don't know how far they have made that resolution to that effect, but it's among the priority projects we feel we want to undertake as a matter of urgency if money is provided for. I thank you.
Thank you very much. The chair and all the honorable members has already responded to. One, on Philip Omondi Stadium, the budget allocation is under the KCCA, not under National Council of Sports. And this has been progressive for a number of financial years of government. It's one work in progress. But the chair allowed me to also indicate here that the decision for selecting the training grounds was based on the stadiums that were earmarked and approved by cabinet. And therefore, the funds allocation and every detail was in line with the decision of cabinet. Number two, on the code for the Kacheka development, when we are doing our concept note for approval, the development committee, the Ministry of Finance, Plan, and Economic Development, guide that all the projects under National Council of Sports should only have one code. And that is what we did. And as we talk, the feasibility report of Kacheka is already ready. And we have the code for all the projects we're undertaking is 1873. And all the feasibility reports for the others, like OIMA, Kibwa, are available. And I've carried the copies here, Chair, in case you have interest. I will provide them. I want to submit on that. Thank you.
Thank you. So before I let you go, National Council of Sports, National Council of Sports and FUFA. Yes. So I'm sure you work hand in hand.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, Honorable Magogo, let's have your document circulated among the members. Yeah. Is that all for FUFA? Okay.
Chair, as we prepare to get the documents, I'll try to be as clear and clear as possible for football in Uganda. And it is the one that is affiliated to FIFA, the 27, together with the other East African countries. And there are challenges that need short-term and long-term strategies. Dear members, on the 10th of September, out of the motion by the Minister of State for Education and Sports, Honorable Peter, while paying tribute to the outstanding performance of the team in Chan, there was a resolution of Parliament that the development...
So, Mr. Watson, can you help the president of FUFA? We wanted the document, seriously. As presenting, let's get that right up. Because the other
National Council of Sports. And I expected such a presentation would have gotten knowledge of National Council of Sports, even if I assume that I've been busy with you, Mr. Chairman. It's surprising that as you're here, the FUFA president, who is a colleague, is making a presentation which even I do not have a copy. And I've just asked the chair of council, which is directly mandated to supervise these federations, whether they are privy to the presentation. But because since this parliament, it will be prudent that as affairs of sports are concerned, all of us as stakeholders are brought on board. And I'm happy that the motion which I moved has been quoted in the presentation. Unfortunately, myself who moved the motion is not having anything. So, Mr.
So what we
Chairman,
do, let's do it this way.
I want to request that, with your permission, that we have a copy of this presentation. Secondly, with your permission, that before decisions are made, allow me to go back to the ministry, harmonize and discuss this with the Minister of Education and Sports. Because whatever brought here has come from the consultation from the Ministry of Education and Sports and top management. So I want to kindly request that, Mr. Chairman, through you, this be considered. I thank you so much.
Yeah, I was proposing this way, that you can get out for some 5 minutes, consult as we move with other entities. I think that's very prudent. So Honourable Minister, and actually I watched you get our flag from Morocco, and the two of you, so please go on. You just can just reconcile for
But
5
Mr.
minutes.
Chairman, I want to request that the permanent secretary, since the CEO is there, and the chairman of National Council of Sports and the general secretary are part of that consultation, because it's not
I have no
about me
problem.
with
I have
my
no
brother.
problem. I do not have.
So can I make a small suggestion? It's being raised that our colleagues do not have the copy. As far as I'm concerned, there was a copy delivered to the National Council of Sports, but we can cross-check with that, because if you see the letter, it is copied. However, I also want to suggest that by the same mechanism, documents or a presentation has been made here about AFCON and football, but we have not had a consultation with the National Council of Sports. Whatever is being presented here has zero input from the Federation. We thought that if that was the case, it should have started already, so that by the time we come here, but since we had not gotten any opportunity of any input, then it becomes a challenge for us that some of the proposals, which are good, and maybe even supporting what Council is presenting, had not been included. But we take your advice, and then we'll get to that back to you. as well.
Yes, please do that.
Thank you so much.
Honourable Minister, I have no problem, because my
I wanted to affirm that we have not received any submission from FUFA. And for all the years National Council of Sports existed, the procedure of National Council of Sports budget preparation is communicated at the appropriate time. And the CEO who is here, who is the author of this letter, knows that procedure, and he has been doing it over the years.
okay.
We have not received the copy being referred to.
I've given you 10 minutes.
We have not received.
I've given you 10 minutes, so please. Hello? And in-house? After? We are going to have an in-house. Not now, because these are many people. Because to me, Honourable Member, break, can we get back?
I'm coming.
Give us a report, because I want to move to something else.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for your guidance. I want to confirm that we have had an engagement with the honorable colleague, Honorable Moses Hashim Magogo, who is the Federation President, with the Permanent Secretary, Chairperson, National Council of Sports and the GS, and his technical team. We have agreed that as a matter of urgency, the matter be taken back. FUFA writes to National Council of Sports, receives the document formally, and they have a meeting to discuss what is contained in that document. Thereafter, we'll come back here and report out of the meeting which will take place. As when the meeting will take place, I've agreed with them that if they could do it later this afternoon, because also we have to go through the formal ministry procedures. Number one, that matter has to come through senior management, then it has to come to top management, then we are able to bring it here formally. So that is what we have agreed. But in all that, we commit to follow up as a Ministry for Education and Sports. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
First of all, we are very privileged today to appear to present our national budget framework paper to the Committee for Education and Sports in Parliament. And our presentation was well received. What I can only highlight is that amidst the construction and expectation to host AFCON 2027, there is increased need, one, for government to reinstate the money which has been removed from our budget for the next financial year, which totals to 167 from the 508 billion which we have in the current period. That will help us address so many emerging issues and other matters that require compliance in respect to the sports infrastructure development and preparation for AFCON as a country. That's number one. Number two, there are emerging needs to grow the subsector and also undertake our strategic development planning right in its form. The interventions we have designed for the next 5 years in line with the government development plan, which has been approved by the National Planning Authority, we are required to undertake a number of activities in order to promote and develop sports. Besides the sports infrastructure, the necessary support required to federations and associations require additional funding. You note that some federations will get 10.7 billion for a whole year. You know that? About 28, 27 of them. We have major games and preparation for activities that are aligned to them, like the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics and Paralympics. We have to support national teams for the respective federations to the qualifiers that at the end will see us select those players that tomorrow will represent the country. They need to participate in the regional, continental, and world championships. And those require a huge amount of money. The other aspect is major games government fund 100%, not from the side of the federation, like the Olympics I've mentioned. This year we have Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, where averagely we require not less than 5 billion alone. But the total budget we have in the annual period is 3.5 billion. So that really affects, one, the support required to process the players, present the players, and present Team Uganda as a country. Other needs are aligned to the, now that we have finished some of the construction work, like in the Home and City Stadium. We have not undertaken activities, for example, the insurance coverage for the facility, which is a must. That facility cost the government of Uganda $130 million US. It must be insured. As a government obligation, in the case of any emergencies, we need to be protected. So we need the money. And training facilities, we are doing in Makerere, Kiambogo, Oima, Boma Grounds, Atituwinyi, Liredo. In all this, there are issues for them to be completed. We must maintain them. We must buy equipment. And these are hybrid facilities we are constructing, which is internationally accredited. So then the other aspect is additional human resource requirement. The new structure for Oima City Stadium requires us to do a restructuring to also recruit new staff. It doesn't have any staff aligned to it because it was not expected earlier. The money was provided to do recruitment. Now a new structure following our feasibility report is out, which actually require us to hire a few staff. Those are some of the additional needs. So the others we can reschedule them, like the Magogo redevelopment after the AFCON project, yes. But there are these needs that you need, and for us to be proud organizers of such a major competition, but also prepare our athletes. We need this money.
You talked of 1 trillion. I had some
We have 1.5 trillion as an ideal budget. We are not saying government can give us all the money, but this is the ideal budget, which government must know we need. If the money is there, they will give us.
How much is the shortfall on that?
The shortfall is huge. It is about, if you deduct now 1.5 minus 336 billion, which is what we have, because the 167 has been removed from the 508. So already we are starting on a deficit of 167 billion. So the first thing we are praying for is to have.
We have a shortfall of 1.2 trillion.
Yes, 1.2 trillion. That is a shortfall. That is a gap we need to bridge. So, and that is our appeal, that we may not need all the money, but the priorities require for us to operate normally and in an ideal situation. We're not saying this is government must do everything. Yes, government work with the priorities. Now our priorities and mandate require us to construct, maintain, and support the usage of these facilities. Moreover, also support federations who are mandated by law to do talent identification and development, but also present national teams to various competitions, including Olympics, Paralympic Games, World competitions, World Cups, like we have come from Morocco. Those are the things we must do. You might have seen the value of every player, and you can also look at that from the value of player. We want to create such players with such a value. We need to invest in them. No. The challenge is only one. There's a procedure in the government that require, for example, federations and associations are under National Council of Sports. They are required to make submissions to National Council of Sports, which they have done over the years. And we normally do. We normally require them to undertake. You get me? Now, at that point, we are able, therefore, to integrate their need and as a gap that we pray for. Now, after this presentation of the second budget call circular, there is what we call corrigenda, where government looks for additional resource. It is at that point we write to them, because government has provided additional resource. Here we have highlighted the need, as far as we are concerned, as the authority of government for sport development. We have highlighted the need, which is totally 1 point. There you'll find about 8.5 billion is for additional resource to support federational needs. So we think for them, because we also know that we are guided by the National Framework Paper, which gives us a ceiling of budget. So you cannot impress on government to plan huge figures without guidance. The guidelines is very clear. So our justification is therefore hinged on the fact that, yes, if government needs to give us additional resource, we need to tell them which area. Now, FUFA should have written to us, but they have not done. They are claiming they have written to me a letter. That letter is addressed to the speaker. I'm copied, but I'm not received a copy. That should have come. And our procedure in the ministry, once we receive submissions, I have an obligation to submit to the board of council. I have an obligation to submit to the ministry top management, which is chaired by the senior minister and first lady of this country. If it is a matter of AFCON, it must also go through the AFCON secretariat, which has a CEO, where the minister is the chair of the LOC, and FUFA is part of it. So we have all the platform which was not addressed. And that was a concern of the honorable minister and the ministry, that those procedures must be followed. There's no problem. We need to supplement, complement each other's effort, because this is our country.
Thank you.
The ministry should address the committee on the increased land conflicts and the disputes and how they are addressed. Response: it is true that the conflicts are increasing, and it has been noticed that these conflicts are largely due to boundary conflicts, trespassing, and evictions. To address the increasing conflicts, the ministry is carrying out the following: undertaking mass sensitization campaigns, disseminating the necessary laws to the public, and to enlighten the public on their land rights. We are also developing alternative dispute resolution, ADR, for amicably settling land conflicts and disputes. We are training traditional, cultural, and religious leaders, and so far it has 640 in resolving customary land conflicts and land management. The ministry established a customer call center where victims can submit their issue for the ministry's intervention. The ministry has developed land eviction 2021 guidelines. Since most are boundary related, the ministry is scaling up land registration under SLAC to strengthen the ownership rights of the citizens. The ministry is also processing certificate of occupancy for Vivanja owners in the 4 districts of Mutiana, Mubende, Kasanda, and Gomba, where it has so far mapped 88,149 parcels for the beneficiaries. Issue 14 is about performance of 24-25. Mulhood should explain why only 88.1 of the budget released was spent. Response. The unspent balances are attributed mainly to wage, where 76.5% was spent, and external financing, particularly the SEDEP project, where only 75.3 of the released funds were absorbed. The unspent SEDEP project balances were largely due to the ongoing implementation of contractual obligations, where some deliverables had not yet been met by the end of the financial year. Issue 2, the ministry was required to update the committee on why wage was not utilized to 100%. Response. The unspent wage balances were mainly due to the non-conclusions of the graduate recruitment exercise and the staff promotion processes during the financial year. The ministry had planned to recruit 36 staff to fill vacant positions, largely under the science scale, and to effect promotions for 29 staff, including commissioners. However, both the graduate recruitment exercise and the staff promotion process had not been concluded by the end of financial year 2024-25, resulting in under-absorption of the wage. Issue 15, Chair and Honorable Minister members, is the competitiveness and enterprise development project. The ministry were required to update the committee on this project and its effectiveness, since it was provided with a supplementary expenditure for its completion. Response. The project closed on 30th November 2024 and had achieved the following by closure. We had achieved the digital land administration, and the issue of efficiency and access, and the issue of coverage and issuance. We had progress on the issue of revenue performance. That one is, I should want to underscore that. Honorable members, through reforms funded by SEDEP, such as LIS and LAVMIS, the ministry currently contributes on average 689.7 billion to the national treasury through the various sources under the ministry, such as probate, property tax, capital gains, rental valuation assessments. So that is the very big achievement in terms of revenue. And the analysis of the ministry revenue generation is shown, as I have mentioned, in terms of the tax line items. The table is very clear. Members, through you, Chair, I request that the members can read, if acceptable. Thank you. Honorable Chair, under the LIS, UGX 1.109 billion has been generated since its inception. Steady recovery can be noted post-COVID-19 under the, yes, trillion. Yes. Is it not? Yes, it's trillion, yes, correction there. Chair, this is for noting, and I want to go to show the snapshot of revenue generated from land transactions. That's another table. The year and how much. The amount up, that's how we have shown 2020, 2013, 2014, up 2024, 2025. You can see the highest year, you go through, there's 242, so 149. So that's how the money was generated. And the source, we have the reports to that effect. Other achievements under the project, we completed enhancements to Uganda geodetic reference framework, strong rooms, we build IT equipment provisioning, vehicle procurement, and many others. Issue number 16, Mr. Chair, medium-term expenditure framework, growth. What drives the projected recovery and the growth in financial 2027, 28 onwards, and are these projections realistic given the past financing trends? Response. The projected recovery and growth from financial 2027-28 onwards is primarily driven by the assumption that financing will improve relative to the recent period through scaling up of government allocations and increased mobilization of external and alternative financing, e.g. donor support, project financing, PPs, to close the recurrent and the development funding gaps. However, given the historical trend of low financing, these projections are only realistic if there are clear, credible triggers that will change the financing trajectory, such as approved new projects, confirmed medium-term commitments in the MTF, signed financing agreements, or a policy decision to increase the vote ceiling. So, vote 156, Uganda Land Commission. We need guidance there. The PS can guide since the overall.
You have the apprentice.